We are live.
Oh, hello.
That was a nice surprise for you with no intro. Huh?
Perfect. We can edit this bit out. Anyway, there should have been an intro, but guys, welcome to the eCom Collab Club. I'm Piers. This is Peter Gardner, and I'm going to do a little bit of intro. So, are you tired of chasing one-off sales? Is my question for you. Now, imagine there was a brand where customers you coach marketing, wear your colors, and even volunteer to wear your how to guys. Well, that's exactly what happened with LACEEZE, the patented band that stops bootlaces unraveling. Now, founder Emma Burke went from cold Saturdays on the touchline to selling over 400,000 pairs and pitching on Dragon's Den. And today, guys, she shows us how the community not just adds, but also built her business. Emma, welcome to the show. And sorry for that fuck up there. Don't know what happened.
Very much. You're doing it, not me.
Exactly.
It's not often Adam gets a little bit flustered, and there was just a little bit of panic there. I don't know what happened. Don't know why our intro video didn't play there, but oh well, we'll just roll with that today. It's good. Emma, thank you so much for jumping on with us today.
Oh, it's great to be here.
We normally just say, look, you're going to be way better introducing yourself and giving us your background, and you know what we always try and do is say, give us the full story. Give us where you got into this, what your experience was before e-commerce, before you started business, how that's helped you start a business. And yeah, you can throw in a little bit of stories about maybe Dragon's Den and your episode there at the beginning of the year. And yeah, give us the full intro for those of us that don't know you.
Yeah, so yep, name is Emma. Rolling right back, I was not in e-commerce. I wasn't even in business. So I left school at 16, like hell bent on wanting to work with animals. So my first career is I trained as a vet nurse, went to college, did animal care, got a apprenticeship as a vet nurse, absolutely loved it, got paid a pittance. I think I was moaning to my teenage sons about, you know, cost of living and expense. And I said, I lived on, I think it was £60 a week. I mean, it was just dire. But I did love it. And then I met a man who is now my husband, who was self-employed, and he's like, you can't be doing this. The weekends, I mean, I had to work one weekend in 3. I had to do night shifts, and it was, I mean, I take my hat off to every person that does it now. And the vet world has changed in terms that you don't have to do a lot of the emergency service. It's all gone very corporate. But he said, you just need to be self-employed. It will just work better for us to be self-employed. So I then had a cleaning company because I didn't know what to do. I didn't even know how to run a business, to be honest. He said, well, he was in property. He said, we can never, ever get cleaners in to clean properties and hand the keys back to the estate agent. So he said there is a bit of a gap in the market, and it was at a time when in Dorset, where we live, property like new builds, it was booming. So every other person was either a car dealer or a property developer. So there was quite a big audience. So I built this company not knowing a thing other than how to look after animals. Had 60 members of staff. Like, I had to Google how to do a quote, how to do an invoice. I was absolutely just clueless, but you kind of learn on the ground. And then, so obviously, really fast forward then until to 2016 is when my youngest was playing football in a team. Little boy turned up, and his dad put an elastic band around his boots. So somebody said, what are you doing that for? And he said, it stops the laces from coming undone. For anybody that has been on the sidelines of kids football and adults as well, shoelaces do come undone, single knot, double knot. So we watched this little boy, and lo and behold, the elastic band did do the job. Now, we then kind of like thought, well, could there be something here? Could we create a product that like the cool kids want to wear? Because children, like, some will put an elastic band on, that's absolutely fine, but children are particular about, you know, what their boots look like. You know, so we needed something that was like a bit cool, that they would want to put on their boots, and like that would create a bit of a buzz. And that's where the idea of LACEEZE came from. So that was 2016 was when we first saw an elastic band on a football boot, and our launch was May 2017.
Oh wow, that was quick.
Yeah, probably a bit too quick because there was a bit of a cock up along the way. So we were able to like prototype quite quickly. We actually
Yeah.
just got some molded silicone, wasn't branded, it was black, it was really quite crude actually, but we tried that, popped that on. It's like, oh yeah, that works. Okay, bingo, that works. This is the design. Let's tool. Let's get the product made. And obviously, not really know much. Let's get it. What colors? Like rather than just do 2 colors, 3 colors. No, let's get 6 colors. We need to kind of cater for everybody. And we got what we now call our Mark 1 LACEEZE band. And it came, so 6 colors. I can't remember what the MOQ was, but probably 1,000 of each color, maybe a couple of thousand. And we kind of got some real buzz locally. Both my boys were playing football. My co-founder, her son played football. We had a kind of like a local network, got these bands out, and they were working. And then there was a Sunday, and my co-founder sent me a message. She went, "They're not working." I was like, what do you mean? What's not working? And it was just typical English Sunday, like mud up to your knees. It had been teeming with rain. And the band was it got really shiny and really slippery. And basically, there was a child wearing a LACEEZE band with his untied shoelaces above it, which is just not great. So we were like, oh, heck, completely just had to pull those, go back to the drawing board, get a product that was slightly bigger, so it's a bigger kind of surface area. But at this point we said, well, look, we need something, we can't have it going like really shiny and really slippery when it gets wet. It's always wet in the UK during the winter. So we then put like these ridges on the inside on both sides, so completely like new tooling once again. So it's slowed down at this stage. It's like, come on, let's get this right now. Got the new product in, that did the job. And I don't know if you want to talk about IP, but actually it was the fact that we put these ridges into the bands that enabled us to get a patent, whereas before it was just a rubber band with a nice logo on it. So there was a positive, but God, yeah, that was like, sort of running before you can walk, and just a little bit of a stressful start initially. But then the funny story is this like massive bands that we have, we're like, we're not going to chuck them. So we were doing like a few sort of tournaments for promotion and things. So every time somebody bought a pair of Mark II LACEEZE bands, we gave them the original bands and said, pop them on your water bottle. Because I don't even know, like kids, they turn up at the side of the pitch, they dump their water bottles. So nobody knows whose bottle is whose. So we're like, there's a really good like bottle identifier. So we started giving them away.
That's cool.
And then we had somebody who was like, oh, my children have like got tiny feet. They're like size 10 feet. So your bands are too big. Have you got anything smaller? And we were like, yeah, we've just given them all away. But so the last of the stock of our very first band actually then got sold and marketed as a LACEEZE Mini.
I love
They're
it.
gone now. We won't go back to LACEEZE Mini. Like even we get the odd people from time to time. They go, oh, we need a smaller band. But actually the majority of children that have really tiny feet are in Velcros. So yeah, it's such a small market, but it's quite funny how it just kind of did this full circle of actually getting back into our website to be sold after it being completely, thrown out and given away.
That's nice. Love that.
It's absolutely incredible. I love this story. I love how you found the problem and then went, let's solve this problem like this.
Yeah.
I've got 2 boys that are crazy into soccer, and I was saying to you just before this, they are on their field, and the amount of times that they are missing game time because they've got to come to the side and they've got to get their shoelaces done. And you just look over at the tournament, and there's just kids. Like whenever you look anywhere, there's some kid with their shoelaces undone, having to get them done. And they end up falling, especially if they play on AstroTurf. They end up falling and getting grazed, and it's just When I saw your product, I was like, hell yes, I'm buying this for my boys. This is incredible.
Our strap liners don't stop the game, and it's very much so in the UK, and I don't know what it's like in Australia, but I actually researched at the time, like, should a referee stop the game for shoelaces? Actually, there's no law, FA law for it, but actually there is something in the referee's guide that says it is recommended, especially for children, that you stop to retie the laces. So, like, we're the coach and the referee's best friend, because the refs don't want to have to, and they are like the guys that ref junior games, they're like the saints. They'll stop, they'll retie shoelaces. They kind of look after those kids as well as reffing for them. But you just say, like, run to the coach, run to the parents. Now, when it's cold in the UK in January, most parents are like huddled, they're holding their coffee cup, they've got gloves on. Shoelaces, you just don't want it. You just want the kids just to go. You want to watch and enjoy what they're doing. So it's kind of, we've created a solution to it. It's not a third world problem, but if you are a sideline parent, it's just something that it's a hassle, and we feel like
Annoying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we've kind of ticked that box, really.
That's awesome. I think I know you're testing the market now in Australia. I think you're going to do pretty well here. So
yeah. That's really great to hear. So you say we've had some positive response, and without really going hard with the testing. But for me, really, like, the ultimate goal is anywhere where there are kids playing football, rugby. Obviously, in the States, there's so many more sports where they wear what they call cleats, but boots. So the kind of market is massive.
Yeah. Emma, talk to us a little bit more about sort of the moment. You've obviously been going almost 10 years now, eight and a bit.
8 years, yeah.
Tell us about the moment when you sort of realized, okay, cool. You've already told us, here's the fuck up moment. We didn't do this quite right, and then we got the next product out there, the version 2. But what was the moment you went, okay, cool. This is not a side hustle. This is going to be a business for me, to continue with.
It was probably for the first few years. It was, I think it's probably the first year, very much like you could just manage it in the evenings and do other things. It didn't consume me. I think it was the point where actually it took a lot more time. It's like, okay, I need to really dedicate more time, more energy to this. I need to, get a salary. So that was probably a few years in. I think one of the moments for me, I had, I was like DPD or somebody came to my home address, and there was a package marked for LACEEZE, and he's like, "Are you LACEEZE?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, my stepson wears them." He said, "They're amazing." And like, that for me is like, oh, okay, yeah, right, we've made it. Like, somebody recognizes the brand name and gives me that positive feedback. It's like those sort of moments still give me goosebumps now, really. I was in Subway or Greg's or something, getting a coffee one Sunday morning, and there was a little boy with his mum. He'd obviously just played. He was in his kit, covered in mud. And I automatically just look down at people's footwear now. It's just a kind of subconscious thing. And he had bands on. I was like, oh, love that. I will never, ever get tired of that either. I just love it.
No, I bet. I mean, look, Emma, on that kind of grassroots level, we're talking today, obviously, about community. And I suppose what I was interested in here is, like, you mentioned that situation before, obviously, when you realized that the first version of product kind of wasn't going to cut the mustard, and you sort of seeded it. You started with that grassroots level. Did you have kind of in your mind a playbook or things that you were definitely going to do in terms of getting those coaches, getting those parents to turn them into evangelists? Or was it kind of like suck it and see, try things? Or are there any kind of tips or hacks that you can kind of tell the people, look, this is one good thing that I did that worked really well to get them to do that?
I mean, I could lie and go, yeah, we had a proper playbook, but actually we just had sod all marketing budget. We'd obviously made a bit of a faux pas to start with, so had to go back and tool again, which probably $3,000 for another tool. So straight away, it's like you've written off that first lot of stock and a tool, and then it's like starting again. So budget was, like, for marketing, was non-existent. We didn't even give like meta ads like the light of day. So it's like, who can we tap into? And the great thing about sort of sport is it's kind of already a community in terms of whether it's just a club or, a local team. There are so many different, so you know, straight away we're like, okay, let's just try and like tackle all of the FAs. Now some are really, really like forward thinking, like, yeah, absolutely love this. But actually what we were able to do was tap into a pain point of grassroots clubs, whereas they're just broke and they are always fundraising, and the fundraising falls back on the, you know, the club. Each team are like, well, if you need to have a new kit, you've got to get somebody to either sponsor that, or you're going to have to fundraise for it. And we were really, really able to like tap into those individuals that were challenged with raising money and say, well, look, guys, you promote our product. One is a great product that will be kind of like helpful for you, and we'll give you a code, an affiliate code, kickback every time. So that was key for us. It was like, we need free marketing. And if we can just tap into all these communities and actually give something back. So LACEEZE still today, we give back 25p. So every direct sale on our website, 25p goes back into a fund. So we are constantly donating raffle prizes. Last year, I think there was a club that had their goals vandalized and they had a GoFundMe. We donated to that. Anything that kind of keeps the show on the road, we give back to. And that's been our stance from day one. Like, my boys play grassroots. I think it's been the best thing for them throughout their lives. They're so sociable, they're confident, and I truly believe that's come from sport. So that was the core value of the brand. And by us being able to really show people that was our value, we're not just trying to sell a product and make a few quid. People bought into us, and and really it just snowballed from there.
Because I think what's I think important for me to call out here is that I think, look, we have a lot of conversations through the eCom Collab Club with our clients about community, and I think there was always perception of, when the word community is banded around, that it's got to be about starting your own community. And that feels very heavy and hard and difficult, and trying to get people to look, we know that very well, because we tried to do the same thing ourselves, you know, of getting a community together, and it's hard. But I think that's something that I think people can learn from you here is like you rightly said there, you already had communities, you worked out something that they needed in terms of product, and you also worked out what they also needed from okay, what are the things within that community to help it function and help that to be better? And I think maybe some brands listening need to think about that a little bit more than going, oh, you know, we need to start this new Facebook group or school group or in-person, you know, running club group. If there are groups there already where your product fits into them and you can help them do something that they can't do, I think that's something that people should take stock of. And on the in terms of sort of like measuring the community impact, again, in e-commerce, look, we're obsessed with bloody ROI and numbers and metrics. Do you measure, or do you want to even bother measuring community impact of what you do? What's your take on that? Like, do you think it needs to be, or is it like a feeling? What is it?
Well, I mean, initially, no, we didn't. We could just see. So still today, and ever since we launched, our best sales are on a Sunday evening. Why is that? Because the kids are out playing on us. You know, most grassroots, you've got Saturday football, sort of JPLs and things, but the majority of sport is done on a Sunday. And the bands get seen, or the bands aren't seen. And I've heard it. I've been on the sidelines, and somebody has stopped the game again, and people go, oh, you need to get some LACEEZE, like music to my ears. So we don't need to measure it in terms of that, because we now know that we've kind of got that sort of brand identity. We've got that name that people go, oh, you should get some LACEEZE or get those lace things. However, we do have, so our ambassador program now is we use a bit of software for it called Brand Champ. So we have got a bit more of a gauge. So the ambassadors that have a unique code, we can see if their codes are being used, you know, and we can see some return on investment. So, I mean, June and July are our quietest months. And I think we did about £1,500 this month with ambassador codes. So we can see that you know, what we can do is set like ambassador challenges. So we've got like, they're not really training or playing at the moment until pre-season kicks off. So we're like, show us how you you know, keep fit during the holidays, or show us your holiday clips incorporating LACEEZE products. And we've just had like, so we upload that as a challenge, they get the points for it, which they can redeem, and we get like bags more content at a time when people aren't really talking about us and not posting about us. So we're not like massively like, let's track every single pair of bands that goes out and what we get. We just know it works in terms of the amount of UGC that comes back into our funnel.
Awesome. Emma, I've voiced my opinions on the word community on this podcast, I think, a few times, and there's probably a lot of people that listen to this and go, help you to just shut up. I love the fact that there's a community and building around community. Yes, 100%. But exactly like Adam was saying, or what you said, you don't have to go and build a community that is specifically for your brand. Because if you think about it, if everybody is passionate about a brand, or loads of brands, and they become part of every community, they're not going to be part of anything at the end of the day. Yeah. I think for me, it's the word. The word community throws people off. What if you had to put a word to it? What word do you think would be a little bit better to describe this way of using it to grow an e-commerce brand?
It's probably another word that will make you cringe, actually. But like, so it's like a tribe, isn't it? I'm sorry, I've just said it, but it's a better word. Our ambassadors, we sort of follow and we can see their conversation. So our ambassadors seem to know one another. So they've all got their own social media parent-run accounts, I should just hasten to say, because they're not allowed to have their own accounts. And they build one another up. So they comment, you know, one will be on trial, and you can just see this, like, oh, good luck, and that's, or I feel like we've been like the connector for that, because we'll support them, we'll share their joy on a Sunday. We have like a hero every Sunday. We put a mailer out, and it's got like our hero for the week before. And it's not because they've, you know, done, you know, been signed to Arsenal's academy. It's because they're at grassroots level and they've done something really epic, and their parents want to put them on a bit of a pedestal. You know, we're all proud of our kids. They go and score a hat trick or something, and we're lifting them, and we're giving them a chance to kind of like shine. You know, we've got our very first ambassador, Madison's, just signed a professional contract. So I feel like the proud mums. Like, she was literally one of my first, and there she is, like, showing it. But actually, what Madison does now is she's come back in. She's done a Q&A on our Instagram. So my young ambassadors aspire to be someone like her. Like, oh God, she did it. Like, you know, and not everybody's going to go pro, but it's just that you just need to keep connecting with them, and every brand will do it differently. We do it obviously through ambassadors, but we tried a Facebook group. It was like tumbleweed. Like, why would they want to come onto our Facebook group? I think Facebook groups are kind of they're a dying thing now, but actually there are other ones that were already created. There's a Team Grassroots one. They've got hundreds of thousands. People talk about us in there. We're not paying to be in there. People talk about us as a brand. And then that just brings them, like, once again, they come back full circle back into our fold.
But I guess it's the same thing, isn't it? You know, again, like with the community piece, it's like find out where they dwell and get involved in there rather than you trying to create it.
I just say, add some value. If you're just going to go in and like pitch like crazy, you're just going to piss everyone off. So you've got to be seen to be adding value to whoever you're infiltrating. Like, tread carefully. Like, don't just wade in like, oh, hi, here I am, and I've got this. So it is kind of a, you know, you can't. It's a slow burn. You know, we're working with some FAs now. There's loads of FAs. Some are absolutely crap. They're just not really commercially minded. London FA, epic. London FA then introduced us. Actually, no, it was Leicester and Rutland first. Really, really hot on trying to, commercialize what they're doing. They then introduced us to London. London are awesome. London have just introduced us to another one. So again, we tried to pick up every single FA at the start. Just doesn't happen. But as we start working with each one and like show that we want them to be partnered with us and what we can give back to them and to their teams, not just with giveaways and things, but actually be really, really kind of like integral in promoting them, we get a lot more back from it.
Yeah. I do not hate your word tribe. I feel like that actually makes a hell of a lot more sense, because it's not telling you it's not telling you to go and build a community. It's telling you go find your tribe. Go find out, like you said, or Adam said, their watering hole. Where are they? What are they doing? Who are the people that are in this space that we should be talking to? So talking about the people that you need to find, I did some stalking of your website because, one, I'm very interested in buying some of the products for you, for my boys. But two, just doing a bit of research before chatting to you. The ambassador page, you said passionate about grassroots sports. And I've heard you say it now already loads of times, passionate about grassroots sports. What does the perfect LACEEZE ambassador look like for you?
So the ambassador is the child that just goes out there and loves what they do. They want to aspire to be the best that they can. They're team players, and they are playing at a grassroots level. We have got some academy players, but they're kind of a different level. These are the kids that are just out there kicking that ball around in the muddy pitches, and they have got parents that are really, they are the parents. They're like me, like with their rain or shine, giving up our weekends, giving up our weekday evenings to drive the kids to wherever they've got to go. And they're the ones that just want to put their kids on a bit of a pedestal. They're sharing their child's journey. I wish I did it a little bit more with mine, because they're now, Harrison, my youngest, is about to go into his last year. It's like under 18s football. They just swear all the time. And I didn't sort of document it as much, usually because I was just freezing cold and, just huddled over a coffee cup most of the time. But they're the ones that they're there with a camera. They're championing their child every single weekend. They are the ones. They live and breathe grassroots sport. That's your key ambassador.
Yeah. It's a different experience over here in Australia. You get nice sunny days, winter sunny days. And
All right.
Rubbing it in. You haven't lived until you've done a season on the sidelines in the UK. Don't get the grassroots trophy.
You've obviously mentioned one awesome win with your first ambassador actually becoming getting a contract.
Yeah.
Are you able to share where? And second to that, what else has been a massive win for you with the ambassador program? Is it sales, content, marketing insights? What does your ambassador program help you with, ultimately, and what are you measuring it with?
Content is huge. Like, everybody bandies around UGC, and we get it every single weekend. We've got a new batch of UGC, so we use Refunnel is picking it up, and we can utilize that. But then through what we're doing on the actual platform now with Brand Champ, I sort of mentioned it earlier, if we need a specific type of content, we can really, really fine tune it. It's like, we want a TikTok video of somebody slipping over in the mud because a laces were undone. We can get that without actually going out and getting actors. And, we just put it out to the ambassadors. Some take on the challenge, some don't, but it's entirely up to them, the ones that feel comfortable with it. And we just reward the ones that deliver with reward points. And points mean prizes in our world. So I think it is getting the content is absolutely like the one key thing that works for us. And it costs a fortune otherwise if we're going out to get it with other methods.
Yeah. So other than being passionate about grassroots sports, is there anything else that goes on in the screening process? Is there an age limit, minimum following on their socials, location, anything like that?
We try. There isn't a huge amount, but I try not to. So sometimes you'll have like little Bobby from Rangers FC under 10s, and then he declares he's an ambassador, and you'll then get 3 or 4 from that same team. That's not so great because we do kind of need to get some different type of, that's just really clustering them in one area. So we will be a bit kind of careful with that. But really, it's just a question like, so some people go, oh, I want to be an ambassador. And then we'll look at their socials and they don't post anything about their sports. Like, that's no good. Like for us, it's really just, let's go in, let's look at their socials. And if this is the parent that is consistently week after week posting pictures of the kids on the pitch, that they're doing that already. So let's just add some, LACEEZE into the mix. And a lot of the people come to us when they've already tried the product. So they already know and love us. And then they want to become an ambassador. So it's not just like, oh, let's just go to this brand and get some freebies.
Yeah. So you mentioned the incentives. You said points. Is that what you're using to incentivize?
So there's points they get when they sign up, get some points, subscribe to our YouTube channel, get some points. So we make some really, really easy wins initially. Announce yourself as an ambassador on your socials. Again, easy wins. And then there's like every single month there's a new kind of like challenge. So we're kind of like, right, what content do we need this month or ready for next month? So we'll kind of factor a challenge around that. Then we have a leaderboard. So the top of the leaderboard, how many times they've posted, there's extra points, and then extra points are product. So every new ambassador will automatically get a pair of LACEEZE bands, but then they can either save up their points, and I mean, it goes all the way down to like having a voucher for a gift card for the website. But I mean, a lot of them will just save up the points, get a pair of socks, and then they'll kind of get some of our sort of fresh range and just add to it, which is great because that product goes out, and then guess what they do? Create a whole load of content with that product. So it's kind of self-fulfilling prophecy really with that. And just actually having it on Brand Chap and just being able to gamify it a little bit has really up-leveled the whole program. It's kind of kept that sort of excitement. You can see like coming towards the end of the month, we suddenly get a whole load more content from ambassadors because they're thinking, well, I think I can't remember what we give for the top prize, but it's a nice lumpy like amount of reward points. And if they've already got some from just posting, they will pretty much know that they can claim a good gift at the end of that month by winning the leaderboard.
Yeah. So I think, did you mention the tool that you're using to do the leaderboard?
Brand Champ. Everything's hosted in there. And that's actually got a nice, like a community board as well. And I'm starting to see engagement in that, which I love. So one of their like easy wins is introduce yourself on the community board. And then we are getting that back and forth again. Oh, hi. And actually some of them are like, oh yeah, I follow you on Instagram. I know you. And it's so lovely. Like these kids that know each other through the social world, and they're following each other's sport already. And now in my community board. So I'm hoping that we can really home in on that and get our tribe talking in there a little bit.
Well, maybe in a few more years' time, you might have some of them playing against each other in the Premier League or something too.
Yeah, I know. We can only wish. There is one boy. We did going back probably about 5 years ago. We did some created an ad that went on Sky on like their AdSmart platform. He's epic. So we put that out. That was like a little competition really for ambassadors. Did they want to appear in our TV commercial? And this boy won, and he's heading towards pro as well. Like again, I mean, that's going to be like gold, that ad, if he does make it pro. Can you imagine, like, he's on the TV, like here he was as a LACEEZE ambassador creating an advert. So we'll watch the space with that one.
Yeah. And then one last question from you on the ambassador side. Has there ever been a time that one of your ambassadors have brought an idea to you about a product or a new color or anything that you've gone, hell, you're right. Yeah, I better start developing this and getting that out there as well.
There's something, not just ambassadors, but parents that we've bought out this year. So football boots, you won't have this problem because you're in a sunny country, but football boots, once they've got wet, they stink. It's bad. It's like, smells like cat's urine. And there were a number of parents like, what can be done about this? So we launched something called Defiance Fresh, which is like pouches that go inside football boots, that go inside kit bags. That has literally come off the back of, listening to our customers, listen to our audience, going, yeah, it's stinky, it's horrible. We've just spent 200 quid on a pair of football boots, and within a month they're banished to the front porch because they're just too horrendous to have in the house. So I would say that product has come off of listening to our ambassadors and to our audience, and it's been, I think, the proof in saying, as a founder, I have about 1 million ideas go through my brain every day. But actually, if you just step back and listen to people, the best products are the ones that we have bought out. They're either solution to a problem and where we've listened. And the Defiance Fresh it's been great. Like, the sales have been phenomenal on that product. So we're expanding that range now. And that's not because people have told us to, it's just because they helped us initially. We've seen that, we can see that can be a really nice sort of standalone range and actually reach a slightly older demographic as well.
So I want to switch it now. You mentioned listening there. I want to switch to watching. I hope you like that segue I did there. I think I'm pretty proud of myself for that one. Let's talk about Dragon's Den. And
yeah,
I'm always a little bit hesitant to ask, because we've interviewed a number of people, work with people who've been on Dragon's Den, Shark Tank in the US and Canada, and I'm always a little bit hesitant because I feel like, in a way, it's probably something from your past that, was useful, but it wasn't, I guess, your defining moment. But what I do want to ask is, in terms of you being on Dragon's Den, I want to come boil it down to one single question, which is, was it the experience from a sales and business point of view, positive and negative overall, from a short-term perspective, from a long-term perspective? So it'd be great if you could say, from a short-term perspective, so in terms of, maybe the month or so that passed after the appearance, positives and negatives, and then maybe kind of, a year, 2 years in, maybe even today, when I'm still talking about it, positives and negatives, really.
Yeah, I mean, that short-term effect, probably not the first month, it's probably the first couple of weeks. Because you think, we were episode 1, but then the next Thursday is episode 2's out, so the buzz is on them. But I mean, the impact that night, we had my son had like a screen record on Shopify on the back end, and I think before we went live, there were like 15 customers, 15 people viewing the website. And then as we went live, we literally were just watching the ticker go up and up and up and up. But then in real time, when I was getting kind of a bit battered by the dragons, the people were coming off the website again. It was mad. It was like this real time, sort of viewing. And then at the point of sort of when the dragons were saying in or out and talking about investment, it just rocketed again. So at that point, it was like 18,000 on the website. It was nuts. And then the next day it continued. But sales spike was great. But again, the sales really hit Amazon more than our website, because that's just where human nature is, where people go. So really, really strong sales for about 3 to 4 days, and then it tapered off. We were able to sort of use retargeting ads and stuff, so we had a really, really strong January. But it was really, I suppose, the credibility. The positive is the brand credibility you get. I suppose they didn't destroy me. Every dragon said, yeah, great product. That's thank God. I would never have gone on the days of Theo Pathetis that used to sit there and try and destroy product. That's you done for. So
they used to love him, didn't they?
Oh, oh look, it seems to have broken. Like, oh, you know, these poor people. It's quite cringy for them. But the credibility that's given us, we've been able to talk to people that wouldn't have wanted to have talked to us 12 months ago. And I think that's like the long-term effect from it. If you've had a positive experience with your 15 minutes on TV, you can rinse that.
And I suppose, you know, in terms of today, do you see, you know, if you think about, you know, sort of today's in 2025, what are, I guess, the positive effects or the main positive and the main negatives of you being on Dragon's Den today?
I don't know if there's any real negatives other than sort of people guess it's human nature. Oh, well, they're doing well because they were on Dragon's Den. Well, actually, we'd been trading for a really long time before that, and we'd proved, you know, continual growth. We'd proved that there was, you know, a market for our product. So, yeah, really, I think we can use, as seen on Dragon's Den, to our advantage today. That's it's got to be. It's like your badge of honor, really, that we can push that. But yeah, from a negative perspective, on the whole, it was a positive experience. It was a stressful experience, but it was positive.
And would, in terms of, obviously, you know, with Dragon's Den, and I think the media in general, are you thinking about using PR or media in the future for the business? Is that something that you think about much? Just kind of wonder what your thoughts are on that now.
Yeah, I mean, we've always tried to get as much free PR as we possibly can. You know, people that want to do sort of paid ads and like, we'll do this and it'll be $5,000 and there's no real way of sort of getting a return on investment. But I think one of you touched on it earlier. It's like this sort of people wanting to know who they're buying from. We initially kind of, I would say, we hid behind the brand. We had this lovely branding, and that's what LACEEZE was. Nobody really knew that initially it was two mums that were on the sidelines of a pitch, and we kind of missed a trick a little bit there by just pushing this brand rather than pushing ourselves. When my co-founder left, it was sort of it was November 22, and that's when I was like, okay, I'm going to have to pull my, you know, big girl pants on now, and I'm doing this on my own. That's where I really put myself out there a little bit, and that's been a game changer for me. So I think it's more like, let's not PR the brand to death. Let's just PR the story of the founder. And I've got a bit more of a platform to do that now because I've had the Dragon's Den experience. People want to, obviously everybody wants to know really what they want to know, the like nitty gritty of what goes on behind the scenes. But that's, for me, is where the PR comes into it. Let's like just promote yourself. Let's let people know who I am, what I believe in. And ultimately that's why I do what I do. It's not about building this shiny brand.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think, you know, what you mentioned there about, you know, sort of hiding behind the brand. I probably wouldn't put it in that way. I think more of the case of, you know, people, I think prior to sort of 3 or 4 years ago, we're using that as the main way to promote. And I've just actually seen this one of reports come out about B2C companies seeing a lot of growth in LinkedIn as a tool to drive sales. And I think, you know, that is definitely the case now, is that consumers over COVID, we had more time to research. We had more time to find out what people were about. And now there is an expectation that we do kind of see behind the curtain a bit. And I think that's kind of has changed. And I think you definitely see it, I think, from, you know, some companies that maybe are people operating, maybe not from the UK or from the US, other parts of the world, where that kind of mentality of like brand first is still, for kind of startups and smaller businesses, something that they kind of latch onto. Whereas in reality, people want that nitty gritty. Okay, this is the company. This is Emma that we're dealing with, which I think people need to kind of switch onto. I think, Peter, you were going to talk about sort of IP, weren't you, at this point?
Yeah, let's talk about cool legal stuff. Yeah, I'm sure
everyone loves to hear, isn't it?
I think people are going to find it interesting to see the worthwhileness of doing this and maybe a bit behind the curtain. But when was it that you decided, look, we do need to get some legal protection here and make sure that we've got a patent on our product?
So it was when we were going back and doing the second band, we switched manufacturers, and we like quite initially our bank had said, oh, here's a free, like we set up our bank account, here's a free, you know, IP, somebody to have a conversation with. Everybody went, well, you'll never get a patent, you won't get this, you won't get that. So we're like, oh, okay, we'll just carry on doing what we're doing without it. And then the new manufacturers introduced us to their IP lawyer, and he said, well, I reckon I might be able to get something. And it wasn't crazy money. So we're like, do you know what, if you think you can, we'll leave it with you. And obviously anybody knows like patents take years to get. And it was, we found out, it was like during COVID, like the January of COVID, and I got this phone call. It's like, oh, you've been awarded your patent. We're like, wow, that came out the blue. That was a nice thing to get. But we've got that. We've got registered design on the sort of the band, the shape of the band, trademarks, all that jazz. We already had that initially. We've had to use it a couple of times. So there's like your Temu knockoffs, like they're there for every product. I think, you know, you've made it if Temu then go and copy your product. It's kind of a good indicator that you've got something that's worthwhile. We can't really fight those. What we can do is try and like fight the blatant rip-off. So last year there was a product, it was identical to ours in like the size, the shape. And I became aware of it when somebody tagged us, and I looked at the photo on social and I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's yellow. We don't make yellow bands anymore. And it was like a whole team. They all had LACEEZE on except for this product, this yellow one. And then found it, and they had like completely like hijacked all of our ads. So they got a cease and desist letter, which was pretty lumpy actually. I thought if I got that in the post, I'd be like, all right, hands up, sorry, won't do that again. But they decided to completely fight us. They then decided to you can obviously fight through your lawyers, but there's another little sneaky way, is they go to the IP office and basically say that our IP is invalid. So we now have to defend our IP. They did it with my patent. They did it with my registered trademark. And we then go into this battle of actually trying to protect the IP that we've been awarded. Like you think, excellent, we've got the IP. That's all good. That's safe and sound. Thankfully, that's settled. It took a long time. We agreed that they could be on the marketplace with something that didn't look anything like ours. Cost us a fortune, and to date they haven't bought out the product that we agreed to. God only knows what's going on there, but it's a lesson. Like if we didn't have our IP protection, we wouldn't have had a leg to stand on anyway, so it was necessary. And I think actually it's a lesson that we will do our utmost to protect what we've built from people that are just going to blatantly copy. Like it was just blatant in every aspect of what they were doing.
It's freaking mental. It's absolutely mental that you go and get that legal protection, and you know ultimately what you said, you've got to go and then protect your legal protection.
Yeah, and that's, I couldn't believe that was done. That was like, wow, that was like a kick in the stomach. But I mean, the only thing I would say is like every founder that I've spoken to that's got kind of a bit of a niche product that's done really well, we've all had these dramas, we've all had these issues. So it's like my one advice is just find yourself a really, really good IP lawyer. Anybody can hit me up for the contacts of mine because he's epic. Yeah. He's like a bit of a, you know, bulldog when he's going. I wouldn't want to be fighting him. But also he, you know, it was pricey, but it could have been a lot more pricey. Like we kind of got off with the whole thing probably cost us 20 grand to protect what we'd already been awarded.
Which is
massive.
It's like the accessibility lawsuits that a lot of the American companies were getting a few years back. So you've since launched Defiance Sportswear and Grip Socks. I think there's some other products now in the mix. You've also mentioned the No More Smells.
Yeah.
How do you validate these new SKUs with your community before rolling them out?
It is a conversation. The first product that we did was thermal gloves. Again, you're not going to have a need for those, Peter, but it was our bank manager said, if you're going to bring out anything else, outfield glove, but with grip, so silicone. So we kind of stayed on that theme that we have silicone products. those last winter we sold out twice. Like, I really hope we have a cold winter in the UK this year, because I have gone heavy on my ordering for them. So the validations there is somebody telling us actually they're really hard to get hold of for kids, and I was like, are they? Actually, they really are quite hard.
Yeah.
And then the validation is in the sales ultimately. We did a couple of products where it was like a wash bag, just whacking your brand name on it. They don't sell well, and it's because we're not creating anything different. Like, there's a Nike wash bag, there's an Adidas wash bag, so I feel like we have to be creating products that are a solution to a problem, or there is actually like a deep down need for them. And I think as soon as we move away from that, those products they don't seem to have the same impact that the other ones do. Like compression shorts, we do. Obviously there are loads of other brands that do them, but I've kind of looked at what's out there. I used to see like my boys, they would be like tugging them down whilst they're playing. I'm like, why do you keep pulling your undershorts down? They're like, well, because they ride up. It's like, okay, what's the solution? Let's just make them a little bit longer so they don't ride up, above your actual shorts. We take out labels, we put soft waistbands in. So we're not launching brand new inventions. We're just trying to innovate on what is already out there, and they're always the winners, those products, rather than just slapping a brand name on something that already exists.
I think that's kind of been the theme today, though. I think assessing, thinking about this conversation, because it's like what you've kind of described today has been about innovation in terms of both product and I think also in terms of your community and your marketing. You're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. You're just trying to be smart, sensible and efficient with actually how you develop product and sell product, and obviously ultimately then kind of connect with people. And I think on that side of the sales, I'm right in thinking obviously you sell through Amazon, you've got the Shopify store, you've kind of got the grassroots club level orders. Where is kind of where's the main revenue source for you out of those, or what's the split, and has that shifted over the life of the business anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I hate the answer to this question because it's Amazon. But we had a problem with our Amazon account, and we were like offline from Amazon for about 48 hours. People came to our website, went to our chatbot, and like, we can't find you on Amazon. We're like, yeah, but you found us. We're here. It's just the human nature that everybody wants to shop on Amazon. It's just what they do. What I would say is it used to be about 70-30. It's now probably 60-40. And our own website, as soon as we get into the winter, our AOV is like, people go to Amazon to buy a pair of LACEEZE bands or a couple of pairs. But if people come to our website, they're in our world, and we can upsell them socks, we can upsell them gloves. So in the winter, the AOV is like about 4 times that of Amazon. So we've got to be on there. But I think what we've got to do is just be really, really cute and smart of the people that come into our world via our website, is keep them there and make sure that we show them all of our offerings, which they don't get. I mean, Amazon, you have got storefronts and stuff, but people don't use them. It's just that quick find, quick buy, and off they go again.
Definitely. I mean, with respect to kind of those different channels as well, in terms of selling into different markets like the US, for example, what are you kind of observing are the differences there right now from the perspective of US versus UK?
The US has been a tricky one. I thought we would have actually skyrocketed quicker there, just because of the demographic. Parents will spend a fortune on their kids playing sport over there. There's a lot more sports where kids wear cleats. However, there are a lot more sort of rip-off products on platforms, so there is more advantage there for those products. But I think what we need to do is actually really try and tap in to the community in the States. But obviously that's a lot harder for us to do from the UK. So I think we need to be quite strategic about that. It's been easier actually for us to get into Germany. That's been quite surprising. The sales of that have been great. We just think obviously Australia, but America is perfect because we all speak the same language. But don't discount who's actually closer on your doorstep, really. But I will not give up on America. You know, there's a World Cup next year, so it's optimum time for.
I am so tempted to the World Cup. I mean, have you seen the Monterey Stadium?
No.
So it's basically like it's in a valley. So you're watching the game, and the rolling hills are all just behind the stadium. It just looks fantastic. So yeah, but yeah, we shall see.
Yeah, well, I mean, if I can kind of get the product out, there's a really good excuse to go out and visit, isn't it?
Yep.
So yeah,
You need an assistant, Emma, and glamorous assistant on here. Cool. Thank you for that. I think we have got another section of questions from Pete, and then we're going to go into the quickfire round.
In the quickfire rounds, I don't know what you're talking about.
Huh?
We in the quickfire rounds.
Oh, we're in the quickfire. Oh, I thought we had another.
We're in the quickfire rounds. Let's go for it.
My apologies.
One youth sport myth you wish would disappear.
one youth sport myth. Well, it's got to be like it's all about the winning. It's not like there's some. I think there's a bit of a problem with some parents, and it's not all of them, but they kind of live through their children and think their kid's going to be the next David Beckham. Hey, let's just slash that, forget about that, and just try and enjoy the journey wherever it's going to take them, because it's like 0.01% even in academies are actually going to make it onto a Premier League pitch. So yeah, that's been that one.
Going back to our buzzword community.
Yeah.
Anything but community. What's the most overrated community buzzword?
We're authentic. We're an authentic community. It's like, what does that even mean? Just like you just, everything you do, you just got to like just show it without bloody well saying it. That's what I would say.
It's one of those times when they have to say it, then you doubt it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Right. Colorway that surprised you with sales. Good or bad.
Yeah, this is exactly everything for the wrong reasons. Everyone's like, oh, yellow bands, got to bring out a yellow band. Yeah, we bought out yellow bands. They were called LACEEZE Sunshine. They were just awful. Like the amount of people that said they wanted it. I think it's very much down to football boots change so quickly. So at that time, there probably was something like yellow and orange or something. So everybody wanted that to match their bands. And then by the time we got them to the marketplace, people were back in black again. And yeah, I've been asked recently on TikTok, quite a few people are like, are you going to bring out yellow? I'm like, absolutely not. It's not happening again. No way.
There's a big trend here, this side, going with those the yellow, but it's like what do you call it? Like construction yellow, like the high vis yellow boots. It's crazy.
They're bright. Yeah, no. Well, they can have a translucent band to match with those.
One product you won't launch, even if fans beg you.
Footwear. We wouldn't go near people. Are you going to bring up boots? Like, absolutely not. Like, no way. Too much. There's like the technology in that, the big players. I wouldn't even want to go anywhere near that.
Cool. And then a book, podcast, mentor that shaped your founder journey.
Podcasts. It's like How I Built It with Guy Raz. I just love listening to everybody's stories. Everybody has a fuck up. That's the great thing about it. There's something goes wrong. I'm like, oh, bingo, it's not just me. Mentor. I've got sort of a business mentor, but I've also got like a mindset mentor. So I'm going to go a bit like woo, law of attraction kind of thing. But that really, really helps. Just kind of just gets your head in the right space. I think last year I had a session with her and I was like, oh, sales are really low. And she's like, yeah, but sales are going to be good. She's like, you don't sell Christmas trees in the summer. I was like, yeah, you're right. So yeah, I'd say to anybody, finding a coach or a mentor is like paramount. And actually they can change. Like you have different ones at different times of your journey. But yeah, so important in your growth.
Awesome. And then the last one for you, worst bit of advice you ignored and you're glad you did.
So going back to like the Christmas trees in the summer thing. So somebody said to me, why don't you just like make hay whilst the sun shines? Like you're a real seasonal business. So just cash in then and then kind of like forget about it for the rest of the year. And I was like, yeah, but if the brand disappears, you've got all that work to do again. And they're like, yeah, but you can make a load of money during the season. So I ignored that, and I've just worked out how to keep things ticking along in the down season. So no, it's great. We have peaks and troughs, but the troughs aren't anywhere as deep as they used to be. So that, I would say, just I will always listen to advice. I'm always open to listen to people, but not everything has to be implemented.
Awesome. Emma, look, we hit the time there pretty much on the dot, and really, really, really appreciate you coming on and telling your story today. It's been fantastic to listen to you, and appreciate your authentic sharing today.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. No, it was great. I really, really enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Emma. Yeah, absolutely. And if obviously people want to find out more about you and about LACEEZE, where should they go?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, LACEEZE is on Facebook and Instagram. And if anybody wants to speak to me or find out more about me, I am quite active on LinkedIn nowadays. So yeah, Emma Burke on LinkedIn. You'll be able to find me and chat to me there.
Fantastic. Thank you. And guys, thank you so much for tuning in. If you have liked what you listened to today, do give us a like or a follow on the listening platform of your choice. And we'll see you same time next week on the eCom Collab Club podcast. Cheers.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the eCom Collab Club podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and join our community at ecomcollabclub.com/community.